So just going to give you a quick update on what we're doing in the Department for Transport for SMEs, so small, medium enterprise and voluntary community and social enterprise communities. I'm the Department for Transport champion for SMEs and VCSEs. It's a role which I'm quite proud of, actually, professionally and personally, because, as I said, I come from a place called Merthyr Tydfil, where an SME or a VCSE can actually give somebody a purpose. We used to be classed as incapacity benefit capital of Britain, so it does actually make a massive difference. And I would actually support the 5 missions of the UK government to kickstart economic growth, create safer streets, build on NHS fit for future, break down barriers to opportunities, and make Britain a clean energy superpower. So SMEs, as we know, and VCSEs actually impact that greatly. And not many people know 99.9% of all businesses are SMEs, and 99.2% actually have 0 to 49 staff. And the amazing stat actually is 74% don't employ anyone apart from the owner. So that means that you can actually get innovation there, boost productivity, gross value added, and social value. So it's really, really important. Also as well, VCSEs, the voluntary community social enterprises, means they are ideally placed to ensure that we have highly effective social value within government contracts. And also as well, VCSEs understand the specific needs of the local communities, where they can actually then tailor the training or the support to the actual community. And they also as well work with those who are furthest from the actual labour market, employing disability people, also as well ex-offenders, and also as well the youngsters, training opportunities. And when I worked in the actual job centres, we done a lot with local charities, etc., to give people the relevant skills. And what does that mean then? It actually reduces unemployment, it gives people a well-being, and it also as well comes from the actual welfare state then. So the National Procurement Policy Statement, as it says by here, sets out the full strategic priorities for public procurement and how contracting authorities can support their delivery. Very, very important to have look at the government strategic plan, and also as well, as I just said, the reasons why we actually need to get more and more SMEs and VCSEs working directly and indirectly with government departments and our supply chain. So to support the actual National Procurement Policy Statement, the Cabinet Office introduced Procurement Policy Note 001. So basically, each department has had to set targets for direct spend with SMEs and VCSEs. As you can see here, it was a 3-year target from 2025, and that was for SMEs, and we're currently looking at our target now for VCSEs. We've been working very closely with Claire Dove, who's the Voluntary Community and Social Enterprise Crown Rep, and the targets then need to go to the Minister, Minister Lightwood, who will actually then either approve or come back with them after he's strongly scrutinised them. What you will notice by here, it says in scope organisations can voluntary set targets for indirect. So basically, we used to have 2 measures, direct and indirect. Direct is where you spend directly, indirectly is via our supply chain. We invest in massive infrastructure projects, so a lot of the opportunities for VCSEs and SMEs is actually via the supply chain. So our Minister and Cabinet and my Commercial Director have agreed that we will still collate indirect and direct to ensure that it is fairest, and it's not seen as not as important to spend within the supply chain where it is. And I'll go through these figures as well now. Yeah, so as you can see here, over the 10 years, our spend has increased by nearly on £10 billion. And as you will notice, a lot of the spend, indirect spend, is via the supply chain. And that's for 23-24 is 27.62%. It works out at probably about around the 80% of total spend with SMEs. So it's vitally important that we actually do keep on advertising and engaging and spending with SMEs and VCSEs via the supply chain. But that's not to take away as well, because you will see by there that our spend directly with SMEs has been quite constant. However, because we're spending more, the percentage falls, so that means we need to spend more indirectly with the supply chain. So as you can see, we set the targets. The incremental target started in 25, 26. It was then John Manzoni, who was the chief exec of Cabinet Office, and it was 33% spend by 21, 22. And we are still going to mandate that we do achieve the 33% target. So our 3-year target, as you can see on here, is we are actually dropping. That's because our spend is actually increasing, and there were other things which we need to take into consideration. Obviously, we got the train operating companies coming under public ownership. We got the Great British Rail, and there was other factors as well, spending reviews, etc. However, we do actually see that increasing to 5.75%, and as it says in there, 33% of our spend will be with SMEs via indirect or direct. So this is very important. And one thing which we are happy with here is that I put in for a target for 23-24. This was actually before we actually done the spend. And if you go back to the other slide, that it's come out to 6.54%. So our actual forecasting has been spot on by there. So, as we said earlier on, will be also as well the Voluntary Community and Social Enterprise Action Plan. They both different maturities, if you like. SMEs, we've been doing things 24, 25, and only recently now the Voluntary Community and Social Enterprises. So, I've been working very, very closely with Social Enterprise UK because the definition for a VCSE is quite broader than an SME. So therefore, we've been mapping our spend over the last 3 years to actually come up with a baseline. So that's something which we've done as well. So the baseline was agreed with our minister and also with Claire Dove and those as well in Cabinet Office, who, I will be honest, it was significantly scrutinised, doing briefings nearly every week. So the baseline for spend, again, it doesn't look much. However, it is actually quite low, indirect. But when you look at it, it is direct, 0.12%. So we will actually look at ways of improving the accuracy of the data, but also working closely with VCSEs to ensure that engagement and spend does increase. And again, a huge significant amount of this will actually be via the supply chain. So one of the opportunities which we have got as a result of the Procurement Act 2023, it's a reserve below threshold. This can be UK-wide to support the domestic supply chains. Obviously, we can't just reserve just for Wales, Scotland or England. It needs to be by counties. And in addition, we can actually reserve for SMEs and VCSEs. We actually run a pilot with the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency, who successfully run this adopted PPM, but also with a light touch regime. They were able to award to a local SME in Hampshire. So we are working as closely as we can with our pipelines to identify in-scope opportunities. So these are just some of the initiatives which we are taking on board. So we have DfT, SME and VCSE Meet the Buyer events to demystify engagement. So basically, during the pandemic, I done a presentation to over 2,500 suppliers. And it sounds good. However, they came back, the SME and VCSE communities, and said, yes, good, but the opportunity wasn't there for networking. So I've discussed this with my commercial director and my deputy director, and we put it into our action plan, and absolutely been fabulous over the last 4 years. We've done 31 events, the length and breadth of the country, from Belfast to Glasgow, Cardiff, and across the UK. Very well received, and there's actually been really, really good feedback. Again, I've got a DfT SME working group, which Gillian joins as well. So that's something where we do share opportunities, reserved contract. I am responsible for the DfT, SME and VCSE action plan. So we're looking at direct and indirect spend. Webinars, so when they brought in the central digital platform, which I'm not sure how many people are au fait with, how many people are registered on the central digital platform? One. So basically, the central digital platform has been introduced by Cabinet Office, the barriers which we received was lack of visibility of pipelines to working with government, lack of visibility of pipelines, too many portals and complex procurement processes. The aim of the Central Digital Platform is to ease these, and it is a step in the right direction. I will be running a webinar, and I will give the details to Gillian after this on the 25th of June. Basically, it's on how to enrol and navigate on it. It's very, very important. So, yeah, so these are, I'm just going to go through now quickly some of the feedback we've had from our events. One of the biggies here is you see 42% of these events, I just took a sample, they haven't worked with a Department for Transport before, which I think is very, very important because we are getting fresh suppliers in there, value for money, etc. So how would you rate the overall event? So as you can see, but they're very good, 55% good, 45%. So actually, really, really good again. And would you like to see further DfT-led industry events? One said no, so there's always one, isn't there? No. This is the feedback as well. You know, it's just, I'm not going to go through them all, but it says very well organised, fruitful events. We have had people who've joined events, been successful, and have started work either directly with our central government departments, or so our arm length bodies, executive agencies, but also as well via the supply chain. And these are the benefits. I won't go through them in detail, but as you can see, but they're the central digital platform, all opportunities in one place. And this is my concern is, as you can see here, the central digital platform is 86,000, I need new glasses, 86,000 registered suppliers. And as I said earlier on, there's 5.5 million suppliers in the UK, so there's a lot of work we actually need to do there. And thank you very much. If anybody needs to get in touch with us, this is GCD SME lead, that will go to us. And like I said, I'm over there in the corner, there's a lot of us. There's Northern Lighthouse Board, which not many people know. So Northern Lighthouse Board, Trinity House are part of the DfT family, British Transport Police. And when people think transport, that's all they think about rail. We actually had somebody come to one of our events who's now supplying in uniform to one of our executive agencies. So it's such a vast and diverse, yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal.
Define SME and VCSE. What's the actual definition and how do we know who's who?
Okay, so SME is less than 250 staff. Yeah. Turnover less than 43 million. And or a balance sheet of less than 38 million. And I haven't got the visa. It is quite broad. It's any voluntary. I haven't got the definition here at the moment, but it's to do with the third party and the amount they actually. It is quite broad. It says normally a self-declaration, but yeah. It's any organisation which is working for a social value impact within the organisation. And it does go into it because it doesn't have to be a small organisation. It can be a large organisation. It can be a mutual. So it can, third parties. It's very broad. But I'll stick them on the slide and I'll put them in for you. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a lot easier to identify SMEs to VCSEs. But then again, SMEs, a lot of people think they're SMEs, but they're not because they're a subsidiary of a parent company. So that's where there's confusion. But
we do a lot of work around helping organisations with co-production, and service design and user research around accessibility, so helping with like equality impact assessments and things like that. Obviously within transport, that's a really big and important thing. I just wondered if when you're looking at procurement, do those kind of things come up, or is it more likely that I would want to, as in to tender for something like that, for training, for example, or would it be that I would want to make contact with organisations and ask if they would want the training? Do you see what I mean? Would the tenders come through, or would it be more establishing relationships and asking, are there training budgets and that kind of thing? And how does procurement for that work is what I'm asking.
To be honest, National Highways have got their own social enterprise DPS. I don't know if you've registered on it, but you can come over and we could send you the links and all that. But obviously it is considered straight at the beginning, and obviously it is something personally with me. My nan was in a wheelchair, and my actual uncle, he was blind but still worked in Hoovers, and he used to go there every day, walk to work with his guide dog, and he'd be checking screws. And you'd sort them out that way. So yeah, it does impact me greatly. And years ago, I don't go off a tangent, but I used to have to pull my nan's wheelchair upstairs, so I do it, and the things that you notice years ago, when you're talking 40 years ago, which wasn't as good as now, but yeah, it's really, really important that we do. But going back, that was a long way round. Come to one of our Meet the Buyer events, and we will have the likes of Network Rail, HS2, National Highways, but we also take along Balfour Beatty, Atkins, Kia, because we spend, as you've seen there, £23 billion a year, and a lot of it's through the supply chain. But also as well, we take along the Supply Chain Sustainability School, where you can actually free training to work with the Department for Transport and the get the accreditation you need. So yeah, happy to have a chat. GCD, drop me an email and we can have a chat.